Hi, I'm Amanda Freed, but if you've tuned in, you know that. And I committed this morning to be on here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon Tucson time, which should be siesta time because it's about 111 degrees here. So, but I'd rather be here talking to you. So if you come on, wave, say hi, let me know that you're here. Otherwise, this will be recorded and shared later on. And I'll wait a few minutes to see who comes on. I'm in my home studio where I teach yoga, Zoom yoga and meditation. And so here are my guys behind me, Hanuman to your right, Shiva in the middle, and Ganesha on the other end. So they're my sort of consort of sorts. I come and meditate with them every morning, and they're just part of what makes me feel grounded and at home in my body and in my home and in my studio. So many things to share today, and I know I haven't been on here in a little while. Life has been busy, and I've been, in all honesty, distracting myself with some other things. So my commitment is that I'm going to come on more and more coming up. And so today I'm just going to talk a little bit, and then we'll do a little meditation together. And know that I miss being on here with you. I miss the wider spread of contact with my community, with those of you who are in my global community. And I'm getting out and traveling a little more. I'm getting out into the world more, so that feels good. I bet you guys are too. Like I said, if you came on, let me know that you're here. Somehow the names aren't popping up again, so if you feel inclined to, say hi. So those of you that know me know that I'm living in Tucson, Arizona, and over the past many years, actually, Tucson, especially, I've been here for 28 years now, 27 years, and it's always felt like a really safe place. It felt like a safe place to raise my children, and it's always felt pretty safe, although I've gotten closer with more of the Jewish community, which I've never really identified with. It does seem like there's a smaller Jewish community here, but of recent times I've gotten a little more in touch with the Jewish community here. Anyway, we've had a couple in recent weeks, a few acts of pretty egregious anti-Semitism. So last night we marched against anti-Semitism. So we met at Chabad, and we walked over to the JCC, and there were some beautiful speakers. And in the past few months, I've had the honor to get to know and actually work pretty closely with Rabbi Stephanie Aaron from Chavarim here. And for the first time in my life, I can say I have a rabbi. You know, when I used to hear people say, oh, she's my rabbi, or he's my rabbi. Of course, when I was a child, it was only he's my rabbi. And now two of the bigger temples here have female rabbis. And I used to think, oh, wow, this person has a rabbi. What does that actually mean? But I absolutely consider Rabbi Stephanie my rabbi and a close spiritual friend. And we have amazing talks. And one of the things that I've learned through her teaching me about my religion is that Judaism and yogic philosophy are very close together. They really marry beautifully. And someday I'm going to come on here with Rabbi Stephanie Aaron, and we're going to have a conversation about the dovetails of Judaism and yogic philosophy. And that's what's made it so easy for me to really embrace my own faith and my own Judaism. Which I would not have been able to do if it was really sort of against my yogic principles. Because in my choosing of my spiritual life, I've definitely way more gravitated toward yoga philosophy than my own Judaism. But it's so beautiful to come back to it now and go, oh, they're not really separate at all. They really are beautifully interwoven and intertwined. So, and I'm speaking out of turn. I didn't ask Rabbi Stephanie if I could quote her, but I think that she'd be okay with it. And so if you don't find this recorded, you'll know why. It's because I asked permission, I didn't get it. So she spoke briefly last night. There were a ton of speakers at the end of this march that we did. And there were a group of speakers and some rabbis, some interfaith presenters, and that was really beautiful. But what really struck me, and I've shared this with her about what Rabbi Stephanie had to say, was that she wasn't sitting in a position of us and them. She wasn't angry or singling out the humans that perpetrated these egregious acts against the temples here in town. So one had a rock thrown through the window, and one had actually a swastika painted on the door and some really horrible slurs. And she wasn't angry at all, but if she took objection, it was with hate. So her speech was addressing hate like it was another human, and she was speaking to hate, and I found that so beautiful. But I even wanted to expand on that a little bit, because at some point Rabbi Stephanie said that she would look hate in the eye. And to me, and what I thought about afterwards, is that looking something or someone in the eye is actually an act of love. Even if you're angry, even if you're embroiled in contention, looking somebody or something in the eye leaves us no choice but to see into them, but to see them as ourselves, and to connect on a soul level, which only means love. So I will have this conversation with her. So just to expand on what she said, she would look hate in the eye. And I think that if we've ever tried to do that, if you've ever tried to do that with somebody that you're arguing with, or somebody that you have some bone of contention with, it's almost impossible, if you truly make eye contact, to stay in a place of hate, to stay in a place of other, to stay in a place of us and them. So when we look something or someone in the eye, we are finding a love place. We are finding a place where our souls can connect. So, and it's almost like imploring that hate or that person to come back. Come back. If I look into your eyes, I'm saying, come back. I see you in there, and I'd like you to come back to me. And I'd like us to come back to a place where we are not other, where we are not afraid of one another, because whatever is happening to cause us to feel on separate sides is fear. There's nothing other than love or fear. We know this from previous conversations. So when we are in this hate place, or this contentious place, or this place of other, we're normally in fear. So that when we connect with somebody's eyes, we are showing them our vulnerability. We're showing up as our soul being. We're looking into their soul being, and hopefully this dispels fear. If you've ever been threatened by somebody, I've had this happen in New York years and years ago. I was on a subway, and it was in the beginning of my spiritual journey, and there were these 3 girls on the train, and they were kind of talking about me a little bit, and I felt threatened. I absolutely felt threatened. And at some point, one of them looked at me, and I looked directly into her eyes, and I smiled, and she didn't know what to do, and so she just smiled back at me, and the whole situation was diffused. And so this is what I extrapolated from Rabbi's absolutely beautiful, beautiful speech last night, that we are not other, that we are not us and them, we're just us. And that if we can connect in that way, we can diffuse the hate, that we can, because we don't even, it's not even necessary to hate, right? We're not going to perpetuate that idea or that feeling. We get to even meet hate with love and compassion and understanding if we can. So whoever decides they don't like Jews is probably afraid of Jews. Whoever decides that they don't like somebody who has a different sexuality than they do. It's fear. It's based in fear somewhere. And if we can find that, then we can find common ground. And I've been listening all week to Gabor Mate on trauma, the wisdom of trauma. And he spoke to somebody, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, who was teaching mindfulness to special ops military. And Gabor Mate kind of took objection to it. And he said, well, would you teach mindfulness to Nazis in World War II? And the man said, I would have loved the opportunity to teach mindfulness to the Nazis, because I think there would have been a different outcome. So if we see humans as humans, if we see somebody's eyes and a soul as a soul, then we remember that maybe we can reach out to them in love and compassion, and that's what's going to hopefully diffuse all this hate and anger and separation. Certainly more hate isn't going to do it. Certainly more anger isn't going to do it. So I'll stop talking and let's do a quick meditation together. And so if you're in a place where you can, please just allow your eyes to close down gently. And I hope that you're in a comfortable seat, because the first act of compassion, let's be an act of compassion for yourself, that you don't try to make yourself be in some rigid position, that you can sit in a way that gives you comfort and connect with your breath. And the first tool and avenue to compassion is self-compassion. So we'll begin as we always begin, with a breath awareness, gently bringing your awareness to your inhale, gently settling the awareness on the exhale, without any judgment for the breath, without controlling the breath, just noticing the breath in its own perfection. So we remember, again, something bigger than us that is breathing us. You are being breathed. You are not making your breath happen. You're allowing and watching and witnessing your breath. So just gently watch your breath happen. And if the mind comes in and wants to get busy, notice it, and then bring the awareness back to the breath. And over time, the focus on the breath might make the mind a little more gentle and kind. Because we're not working to try to shut it down or quiet it or even marginalize it. We're just putting our awareness somewhere else. Notice how you feel in your body. Notice if there are any areas of stress or contraction, pain or discomfort. And you can gently send the awareness there in a compassionate way. Not in a way that says, oh, I'm so frustrated with this pain or discomfort, but in a way that says, oh, I'm sorry, knee, that you're having pain. I'm sorry, low back, that you feel stiff or contracted. I'm sorry, shoulders, that you're carrying the weight of the world. Let them go. And I'll hold you now. So we even meet the body with compassion. And notice a place in your body that you may not have had compassion. Maybe you don't like the way that part of your body looks or feels. And see if you can send some awareness, some kindness, some compassion there. Oh, belly, if you're soft, thank you for your softness and wisdom. And now, if you can, imagine that you're sitting in front of a mirror and looking into your own eyes. Now, if you're not a visualizer, you can maybe just feel what that might feel like. Imagine sitting in front of that mirror very closely and looking into your own eyes, as if you were looking into the eyes of the beloved. And not necessarily seeing the physical or the outer form, but looking deep into the eyes as an extension, as an expression of the spirit, or of the soul, or of God, or the universe. And notice that the eyes are deep, and even complex. That if you look deeply, you can see different striations, strands of color. And if you bring as much awareness as you can into that eye, that it seems like a never-ending tunnel that you could almost get lost in. Looking into your own eyes as if you were looking into the eyes of the beloved, of the universe, of the oneness that we all are. Inhale the beauty of the depth of the eyes of the beloved. With nothing wrong, nothing to fix, nothing that could be better or more pure. Then this place of reflection, this place of depth, this place without outer circumstance, we lose ourselves in the eyes of the beloved. Now we can connect that with romantic love and remember, oh, I remember when I looked into this person's eyes, or if you've had a child. We lose ourselves in the eyes of the beloved. And when they connect with us, when those eyes connect with us, they recognize us. If we feel seen, it's the most beautiful kind of love. So bask in that now. Not just gazing into the eyes of the beloved, but actually being seen by the beloved. And how absorbing that is. We lose ourselves when we're seen by the beloved. And we gladly give ourselves over to that love. Deep in your breath, allowing yourself to be absorbed into that experience, to be seen by the beloved. When we're judged, we're not being seen. We frustrate and we get sad because we're not seen. So deepen into that experience, that awareness of truly being seen by the beloved, the universe, the I am, the one, the all and the everything. Know that you are worthy of being seen. Know that you are worthy of being loved and that you are perfect exactly as you are. Deepen the breath into that space, into that feeling, knowing that this is always available for you. So we look at other as if we're looking into the mirror, not into the outer form, but into the windows of the soul of that being who is intrinsically connected with us. And then we look upon self as well, as if we're gazing at the beloved. And gently bringing the awareness back to the body, back to the moment, back to the room. Certainly if you want to stay in meditation, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we can begin to wiggle fingers or toes. Maybe circle wrists or ankles. Stretch in any way that feels comfortable for you. I like to check in with my neck. And in your own time, blink the eyes open. Taking your time to come back. And then I use those eyes to look around the room. And I see if my vision has changed. And usually it's changed at least a little bit. So the hope is that we look at the others not as others, but as a reflection of ourselves, as if we were looking in that mirror, not at our hair or our clothing or our bodies, but into the eyes, into the windows of the soul. And hope and pray that we're gazed upon in the same way, not for our flaws, but for our perfections, not for our separations, but for our commonalities. The different kind of love that we're talking about here is complete and whole, not romantic, but loving oneself as a perfect expression of the divine, and loving oneself in the others, seeing them as us. We are one. We are connected. We need each other and we need those connections. I would love to hear how this felt for you, what if any other way I can help you by teaching meditation courses. I have a Dharma Discovery program where I spend 6 months with you and help you decide what's next after COVID. How can I rise to my highest? So I understand these are high concepts, and I'm asking you to rise to your highest because I believe that we can, and I believe that we must. And so feel free to private message me so that we can share more and I can support you in your journey. In that love, I leave you. Have a wonderful day.